Good evening, folks, and welcome to this special broadcast from Top Split TV. No Bernie Weemers and RRtv tonight, folks. You're stuck with Desmond Harbinger and myself, bringing to you a delayed broadcast for round 3 of the Australasian Superskips. Welcome aboard, Des. Welcome to your first night in the booth, mate. How you feeling?
A little bit nervy. It's an interesting run to be invited into the booth instead of on the car. So, yeah, it should be exciting. Be a fun race to watch.
Yeah, mate, you and me both feeling a bit of nerves tonight. I'm trying a whole bunch of overlay software and stuff and driving the cameras tonight as opposed to just being free to move around the track and enjoy the action with Bernie running the show. So tonight, folks, expect a bit of action on the track and in the booth as we try and get things right. But, we'll see how we go. It's a great championship, and we're looking forward to bringing it to you. So, speaking of the championship, we're into round 3 now tonight. After 2 rounds, we've got Luke Whitten leading the way. Once again, of course, returning season champion from season 1. Christian Kabunka, who doesn't appear to be out on track tonight, in second place. Alex J. John from Team Milo sitting in 3rd. Yours truly in 4th, but of course I won't be racing tonight, even though my name might be on the scoreboard. Michael Korn sitting in 5th. Those are your top 5 coming into this round, Des, but looks like it's an interesting race ahead.
Yes, it definitely will be. Unfortunately, basically, with you in the top 4, it's going to open up the position for other drivers to be able to slip up. Maybe Ben Fernoff, Russell Clark have the job to be able to get into that 5th spot. So it will be an interesting run.
Absolutely. So out on track at the moment, we've got Mick Watson leading the way on provisional pole with just about 3 minutes left in the session. He's set quite a scorching time. One of only 3 guys in the 1 minute 42s around here. Conditions on track tonight, it's about 33 on track, partly cloudy with 28 degrees. We're at Okayama International Circuit, of course. Challenging layout here, wouldn't you say, Des?
It's extremely challenging. What's more challenging is the attitude of the drivers on this particular track, because it is in fact a free track in iRacing. They do tend to race on it a lot. So it will be a bold statement, to say the least, to see what these guys can actually do in positioning their cars on this particular track with obviously the Entwood curve and run onto the hairpin. So I'm very excited to see the driving lines of these top-end drivers from Watson, Turner and Bevan, even Whitten coming in there, who is actually struggling at the moment, sitting in 4th.
Yeah, that's right, mate. Luke's had a few challenges here this week in official racing. As you say, there's a lot of action here at a free track during the week, but tonight, private league, of course, great community here built around the Australasian Superskips. I'd expect to see quite a high standard of racing as we're on board with Luke at the moment. He's just outside the 142s, running around on his own. Of course, there'll be a couple of guys here taking advantage of the draft. Luke, as I said, he's had a tough week here. He's struggled a bit to find his usual top form and his pace, but I'm sure he had a little session with Ian Bevan last night trying to run some lines and correct a few things, and I'm sure he'll be better for the run.
Yeah, definitely. He's picked up his pace throughout the week. I have actually seen his drives through the week, gradually getting quicker. He makes the like a lot of drivers do with a lot of mistakes on this particular track, is touching a curb and putting the car sideways a touch. That's tense. And throughout the practice run, he was in form, but still, putting that car sideways, dropping the tenths.
Yeah, that's right. Just ahead of him provisionally in 3rd spot is the guy that was helping him out last night, Ian Bevan. Great to have him back. He's a really quick driver from the Australian New Zealand Club, obviously flying the Silver Fern on his car tonight, so we know he's from New Zealand. I know from personal experience that Ian's really willing to help, and his advice is usually spot on. And I certainly gained from having him give me a few tips last season, and I know Luke was very appreciative last night. But again, Ian sitting in 3rd spot with a 1:42.948, certainly hot time in these conditions, yes.
Yes, definitely a good time. We've actually seen Mick Watson drop back into a 42.5 now. He's lengthened his split to 2/10 off the Turner's time, and Ian Bevan's actually hasn't moved on the previous runs, but it's getting tight at the top. You know, Mike is obviously really dragging every inch of this car out of this track. So it's going to be, it'd be interesting to see whether or not Bev and Witten can hold him with those speeds. But we'll basically see within the minutes to come as the race goes to start.
Yeah, the guys are just finishing off their last lap now. If they've crossed the line before the checkered flags come out, their times will count. Certainly Mick, judging by his helmet, looking very happy to be on pole at this stage. Those helmets are doing the rounds, and they're quite good for a laugh. As he's coming up to complete his final lap in this qualification session, just seeing if he's improved there. He didn't have any benefit of the draft, but no, he only did a 1:43.3, so no improvement on his time, but certainly looks to have taken advantage of some draft around there, and but ducked, as you say, down to 1:42.5. So fantastic effort from Mick there. Just a couple of drivers left on track. Sam Katagizinos coming into the pits, not looking to set a time there. Luke Witten now, he's coming up to the second to last corner by the looks now, coming around the last corner now, trying to set a final time to bump himself up the grid, see if he can get in the top three. Nice run out of the final corner there, coming down to the line now. Will he beat that time of 1:43.1? Will he get into the 1:42s? 1:42.9. Well done, sir. Not quite enough to bump him up the order. Just a fraction behind Ian Bevan there. But he'll be taking his spot in fourth, Des.
Yeah, he will. He done really well on that lap. There was no loose. He was kept it straight. And it went to show. He basically took 2/10 off his time. So he's done well, or about a tenth. Through the field, Dennis done quite well. He hasn't managed to improve on his time throughout the entire of the qualifying session. It's going to be interesting, to say the least, with the lineup that they've got coming into this race, the quality of driving, like you were saying, and the overall competitive nature of this track, the ability, the braking points that you're able to capitalise on a driver is going to make this extremely interesting, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just take a quick look through our final qualification standings. Mick Watson in first position with Mark Turner in second. Both of them been running pretty strongly, both here and previous rounds of the Australasian Superskips. Ian Bevan in third, Luke Witten in fourth, Michael Korn, great result for him in coming in the top five. Sam Katagizinos has been quite quick in recent times since his return from injury, in sixth position. Russell Clark for Team Milo Racing in seventh. Kevin Henderson, a good time, in eighth. Matthew Hobbs in ninth. Dennis Fiedler in 10th. Alex John, the second of the Team Milo cars, in 11th. Aaron Drury in 12th. Racing through now, Les Peck, great result for Les there in 13th, showing his improvement. Ken Hyams in 14th. Ashley Work, news to the series, in 15th. Callum Dwyer in 16th. Mark Jeffrey in 17th. Nick Reed in 18th. 19th, Darren Lassou. Nathan Kong in 20th. Simon Chambers, series organiser, in 21st. Tim Awima in 22nd. Anthony Moore in 23rd. And that's all our qualifiers, Des.
Yep, great lineup. It's going to be interesting to see. Timmy, I have to basically say, a guy that has a great heart. He's pumped out this track all week, and here he is. He's gone back to back. He's going to put in an effort tonight. The cars to watch for me is Mick Watson. He's going to be the one to watch. The speed that he's going to carry around this track is going to be hard to keep up with. Watch the first corner. That's my call. I reckon there's going to be a few bent cars, but interesting to see.
Yeah, absolutely. The cars look to have all taken the grid. They might be waiting for you and me, actually. We might be holding up the show. Both of us, yes, folks, we joined the session as drivers rather than spectators, which was a bit of a rookie mistake. But if nothing else, we'll just be holding them up. There's about 40 seconds maximum before the race gets underway. Quite a spectacular view here as we look at the head-on shot. That smiling face of Mick Watson in front, certainly cutting a striking figure, Des.
Yes, it is a pole position sitter. You can't beat it. The shame is it's hanging down. I need to see that tongue hanging out the side. That'd be the golden point of that shot. But yeah, it will be funny to see these sorts of liveries come on these cars.
Yeah, absolutely. The guys now starting to think about revving their engines with 5 seconds to go. Nice, busy field, or full field, I should say, with 24 cars on track. Great turnout once again. Strength of field, 2,209 as the revs start rising now. And we are underway. for round 3 of the Australasian Superskips. Looks like a relatively clean start as they come down the main straight for the first time. Mick Watson
being able to cutting in on that inside line, be able to block that line. He got across nicely. Running wide, we have Ian Bevan, Witten chasing in behind, all jostling, getting position. Relatively clean start. All the back runners seem to be looking quite efficient. Everyone's keeping their distance. Everyone's keeping their lines. It looks really, really smooth start to this race, Alex.
Yeah, mate, 2 and 3 wide as they headed through turn 2. All of them trying to head down to the turn 4 run into the longest straight, of course, here. You want to get this entrance right. 2 wide there, sorting themselves out. All pretty clean so far. Everyone making it through cleanly by the looks as they try to head up the back straight for the first time, Des.
They are. They're all doing well. There's no bent fenders. We've got all straight cars. Out in front, Watson being able to pace away. He's managed to drag it away. We've had a dive on the inside. There it is, the first corner. Maybe contact between Bevan and Turner as they push out 2 wide, coming in through to the next complex, the infield complex. They are bumper to bum. You know, it is really interesting to see how these guys are going to play out this run without damaging the cars early in the race.
Yeah, you're right there, mate. Mick Watson leading out there. The guys will be through this very technical section of the track through Redmond and Hobbs, really setting themselves up again to finish out lap 1 well. Not too many positions changing here. A couple of switching through the first lap, but by and large, everyone holding station. It's a long race course, 24 laps around here, folks, with a compulsory pit stop. Riding on board with Sam Catakazinas now. He's holding station. He's up 1 position actually to 5th off the start and doing well, Des.
Sammy's doing quite well. There's a bit of banter on the radio there, a bit of arguments going on. They're trying to get a bit troppy as they come back up onto the main straight, running into the first turn. And again, Mick really starting to drag that run out. He's been given free air. No one's going to be able to challenge him on this next run through these next few sequences. Back onto the Antwood curve and onto the hairpin. The real battle is starting to shape up here between Mike, Bevan and Witten. They're really, really pushing hard on each other. One of them sneezes, the other one will have him. It's going to be a tight race between these few.
Yeah, absolutely. Just riding on board with Luke Witten in the gyro cam at the moment. He's tucked up in behind Ian Bevan, who himself is behind Mark Turner. They're just sitting, 0.9 of a second, Mark Turner off the back of Mick Watson. If they're not careful here, they'll lose the line as we see Ian Bevan pull out on the inside of Mark there. Looking to go around the outside here at turn 5 hairpin there. Holds his line. Well done, Mark Turner on the inside. Nice and clean there. We'll be slowing them down. All the time we see 1.1 second now. Mick Watson's broken away. These guys will want to think about their strategy here at this point. It's all well and good. We want to be at the front of that pack. But at the same time, if they're battling, we see Mick Watson now skip out to 1.3 second lead, Des.
Yeah, he keeps pushing that lead out because these 3 guys, the 2nd, 3rd and 4th, keep jostling with each other. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be interesting to see whether or not these guys down these straights, these cars heat up really quickly. They need to get gulps of air coming down that back straight. If they don't, they can blow their engine. Simple downshift too early, it's going to put them in a huge amount of dramas by blowing their engine. It's really, really vital these cars get air. There we go, we've got their Milo car ducking out for a gap of air now. So that sort of particular move in this race is what's going to save your car, and it will push you up the positions.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd expect to see a couple of blown engines tonight, as you say, Des. They've been happening all throughout this week and certainly in previous seasons here. What you'll find is there are critical points on the track where you can let the car sit in high revs or you can grab that extra taller gear to see out into the next corner. Those who choose to stick to the lower gear and rev the engine and also shift down really quickly into those tight corners, just like we're seeing them go through now at turn 4, the outward curve. You'll find that later on in the race the oil temps get up. Around about 142 is the mark, 142 degrees Celsius is the mark that you start getting alarm bells. But pulling out of the draft, certainly grabbing taller gears, they'll certainly help keep those temperatures under control. But I'd certainly expect this tight pack of 8 that we're seeing at the front now. We're riding on board with Russell Clark. These 8 guys will be thinking all about those strategies, trying to keep their engine temps under control, at the same time maximising their results, Des.
Yeah, no, that's the key part is engine management, especially on this track. The amount of people that have, like you said, blown engines on this track this week is astounding. It's the 2nd and 3rd last lap, and because this is in fact a longer race than the general one that we're doing. It's a 24-lap race, so it's going to be interesting to see whether the engine management system will go through in this. They will look after their engines, and the guys down the back that are getting gulps of air. Russell Clark, he's racing to the strategy of the track. He's using his knowledge of the races earlier in the week to his advantage. Now, he doesn't duck out. There he is. He's out again. So it will be interesting to see the outcome as the race goes on.
Yeah, absolutely, Des. As they go through turn 1 again it's telling me actually the wrong thing. If I go into laps now, that'll tell us. Lap 4 of 24, they go through for the 4th time. Apologies, folks. Still learning the tools of the trade, trying something different tonight, but we'll get it right as we go along. Riding on board with Mark Turner now, sitting in 30. Seems to have settled in behind Ian Bevan, but as I say that, he braked quite late into there, didn't he? The price they've paid, though, is they're now, Ian Bevan on the front of that pack is 1.3 seconds, 1.4 now, as he must have got a fairly poor run out of there at turn 4 now. As they head down the longest straight again, Mick Watson skipping away 1.4 seconds, Des.
Yeah, Sammy's not letting them go either. He's right on the tail of that lead pack, that 2nd, 3rd and 4th. He's really, as he comes in, just about getting touched by the Henderson car. It's racing this close to these cars, it becomes scary. It becomes, you're looking in your mirror, like literally trying to pull your bum forward, going, get away from me. It becomes a race of just a fear of, where's the car in front of me, where's the car behind me, and this is what it is. These guys don't seem to be stuttering one bit. They are just putting their head down and going, I want to catch him, and that's what they're doing. They are really doing well.
Yeah, fantastic racing. It's, ironically or somewhat humorously, we find ourselves with Kevin Henderson and Sam Katakazinas in the same part of the track week after week. They just find themselves together. It's great racing. They certainly, neither of them will take a backward step, and they're pushing out again as we see Russell Clark, as you say, grabbing that gulp of air on the back of that trailing pack, trying to keep his engine intact. Now, if I duck back, the second of the Milo cars is on the head of a pack of, looks to be about 5 cars there, sitting down in 9th position with the likes of Matthew Hobbs, Dennis Fiedler, Aaron Drury and Ken Himes bringing up the tail of that pack, Des.
Yeah, no, he's doing quite well. He's keeping pace. It's these guys here. These are the guys that are the dangerous ones in the race. You always find that the guys that are sitting back, 9th, they always get counted out, so to speak, that they're pacing well. They're not as quick as the lead cars. But on this, like we're saying, the engine manager, as we have an off, the car is off. Who is that?
Looks like Luke Whitten.
Managed to stuck it wide as he's come back onto the track with a safe rejoin. So hasn't gotten it on. There he is. He's away. What happened there? We'll have to go back and have a bit of a replay on that one, but it'd be interesting to see whether or not he's lost it on the brakes coming into that was the Antwood curve. So it will be interesting as the lead cars all start to bustle and jive for position. Sammy, I think he's pushed himself up into 4th now.
Yeah, apologies for skipping around there, folks. I'm just trying to find a good angle on what happened to Luke there. Looks like he's coming down into turn 4, into the outward curve. Just got a bit of the yips, found the grass, and then couldn't find a way to pull the car up. It looked like he is carrying damage on the left-hand side pod, so I'm not sure if there was an earlier incident there, Des.
Yeah, no, definitely. He's got a lot of toe in on that front left tyre. So he's going to have to go into the pits, get that repaired, but that's basically his out of contention now for the rest of the race.
Yeah, he's really struggling to turn that car, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah, look, he's just pulling into the pits now by the looks. Of course, it's a compulsory pit stop here. Oh, he's really struggling to get that car around there, isn't he? It's a challenging pit entrance. It's a long one. Last little right-hander here is there's someone in front of him here too as well.
Durham just called out as he went in, yes. Dwyer, sorry.
Callum Dwyer, yeah.
Callum Dwyer.
So they've got the benefit of a fast repair here. The challenge with taking the pit stop at this time, lap 6, the cars are fuel restricted. So it'll just be a matter of whether we can get enough fuel in for the remainder of the race and, of course, then come back out on track. Just waiting now. Callum with a quick stop there. He only spent, I'm just trying to see how long he spent in pits there. Only 29 seconds on the lane, 8.3 second stop. So I'm not sure if he was just fixing damage there. He certainly didn't take enough fuel. As we see Luke Whitten there, he's been in for 26, coming up on 30 seconds stopped at the moment with 45 overall. So certainly he's suffering after that damage. And certainly what I saw in the mix coming into turn 4 where he ran deep certainly wasn't the result. That damage wasn't the result of that, so there must have been something else that's gone on there, Des.
Yeah, no, definitely. He's over brake late. He's cooked his tyres coming in, whether he's pushing extremely hard. There's a multitude of different problems that could occur. But the big mover on this is Sammy. He's pushed himself up into second position now with his trailing Turner and Henderson. So there's obviously something's occurred in that pack that caused all this to a jostle, whether it was a touch down that start-finish in through the Williams and on the Moss S, the section. But they are jostling again really hard. Here we go. Oh, it's going to be... I puck a moment every time I see a car start to dance on the brakes in onto that, that first corner. It's just... Yeah,
it's a nice tight pack there, as you say, racing for second. Sam Katagazinos up there. I'd suggest, I'm just tracking Ian Bevan now. He's down in 20th position. He's been down pit road. He only stopped for 8 seconds, so he wouldn't have grabbed much fuel, probably just grabbing the quick repair and topping up for what he could. Luke Witten's still in the pits, so maybe he's forgotten to check that fast repair. That's going to end his night. He's still sitting there after 2 minutes, and he's out of the car, so an unfortunate night for him. But I'd suggest that he and Ian Bevan have had them coming together, as Ian's now down in 20th and looks to be that Luke's out of the race, mate.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that, and this is what happens when you get fast drivers. They want to win. This is competition, and these cars, you sneeze on them, that's it, they're bent. It is a challenge to drive these cars in a pack, and these guys, you got to take your hats off to them. They're doing a brilliant job racing this close to each other and managing to keep it together, but it is extremely unfortunate that Luke Witten's out of the race and Ian Bevan. So there's the two top-end contenders that I would have had my money on to be able to put any real pressure on Watson. Now, Watson, as we talk about, Watson is just striding away. He's just saying, tongues out, there it is on the helmet, I'm gone.
Yeah, 100%, mate. He's cleared out. He's out by 4.3 seconds at the moment and skipping away, as you say. Just hopping on board with Dennis Fiedler now, the car, 766 car, currently sitting in 9th position. He's up one off the grid. In front of him is Alex John, the second of the Milo cars. He's up 3 positions from his starting position, with Matthew Hobbs just in front of him. They're in a pack of 5 still, with Ken Himes having a great run in 11th position now. He's trailing that pack of 5, but these guys having a great run, nice nose-to-tail action, looking to see what they can make of the positional gains potentially out of the pit stops. I know Alex and Russell Clark in particular, as I jump up ahead, he's on the tail of that leading pack. Sans Mick Watson, of course, is off on his own. Russell prides himself on pulling together good pit stops. I know in the first round at Barber, I was running nose-to-tail with him most of the race, and he just managed a great pit stop and pulled away. So certainly a lot can be won and lost in the pit stops tonight, and a few guys will be thinking about what they can do there, Des.
No, definitely. This angry little pack as we come back in, the number 40 car, Anderson. Oh, okay, there was a stab under brakes. Basically, I think that was pushing up on Mike Turner. Very, very close that was, and it is really starting to shape up as they come back up in through the complex, the infield complex, through Piper and onto Redmond corner. Now Redmond, it's a difficult corner to be able to get under brakes. There it is, the dive, 76. As he sticks it wide, you come out. It's a real difficult decision to make when you're coming into these corners. They're trying to fake out the guys, whether or not they're going to be able to, convince them to try and block the line, and that's where they gain their time. Now, if you don't, and the people don't bat an eyelid to that, that's what happens. You do the cut in early, they run their line normally, and you lose out as they, 2-3 go wide, running onto the main straight. Alex?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. As they come out through the creatively named final corner, turn 11, you're looking to maximise your exit and your run onto this front straight, of course, as they run through turn 1 on lap 9 now. You can pick up your incident points there through running onto the gravel too much, but a little kiss of it's okay and certainly gives you the best run onto that front straight. Riding with Kevin Henderson at the moment in the middle of this angry pack as I duck back to Russell Clark, who's sitting on the back. Russell's just sort of tapering off here. He might want to spend some more time in that draft, see if he can stick on the back of this pack, Des.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a conundrum that he's going to have to try and play with. Do I stick in behind these guys, rev the car out, do I change early? He has got the drag, he's got the draft, and he is chasing it. He's not looking for that air anymore, and he knows he needs that extra slip, Alex. Yeah,
absolutely, Des. He's sitting about 7, nearly 8 tenths behind this pack now as they come down into the turn 5 hairpin. each taking different lines there. Little nudge, little look-see from Kevin up the inside there.
No, he's gone. He's out.
Yeah, who did we lose there? Mark Turner.
Turner.
Yeah, let's have another look at that as they came down into the hairpin there. Kevin had a look up the inside. He's clipped that right rear there, and look, the damage, just a bit of a delayed reaction. We saw Mark Turner off into the wall on the left hand side there. Really unfortunate for Mark as he's in the pits now. He's getting a tow, and he'll get back on after that, of course. But the rear of these cars really showed there what can happen. Sorry, go ahead.
Simple nudge coming into that corner, and that's where those pucker moments come from. And it was nothing. They are tissue paper, these cars.
Yeah, mate, the rear suspension in particular. You see Kevin Henderson drive away fairly safely. Oh, we've got an engine blown in the back here. I'm just trying to find where that is. Who's blown their engine? Is that Aaron Drury? Yeah, I think it is, mate.
Aaron?
Yeah, Aaron Drury, car number 94. As he's coming on to the main straight, that engine's just let go. So he's hit the magic 142 degrees, blowing smoke down the main straight. Maybe he's got one cylinder left because he looks to be see if he can head around by the looks. Although it's he's run wide through turn one there. Continuing on, maybe there is one cylinder left firing there, but certainly he's limping around if nothing else, right?
It was going to happen, but he's leaving a smoke screen for all the other cars. It's great, you know.
Yeah.
All he has to do is start chopping them thumbtacks, and it'll be all over.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right, mate. But heading back up to the front of the field, we've got Sam Catagazinos having a great run in second place once again, with Kevin Henderson carving his way through the field. Kevin's up 5 positions from where he started on the grid, sitting in second. Sam Catagazinos up 4, both having a great run. But once again, as I pointed out earlier, nose to tail, these two hard to separate on any given night. Sam, of course, for those of you interested, he'll be streaming tonight if you want to check out Twitch. At Sam Catagazinos Racing. Certainly it'll be delayed now, of course, but certainly Sam puts on great racing there. If you're there regularly, you'll see Sam put on a great show like he is tonight, Des.
No, he's doing really well. There we go, over the radio. He's up and he wants Henderson's push. Come on. So it's going to be he wants it. He wants to catch this back end of this pack. He wants to get up into that first position. But I tell you what, they've got a battle on their hands. I'm just trying to bring up Sam's actual Twitch feed now. I want to see what his engine temp is in fact running at. Quite interesting, because I know he does do his speed. 125 degrees is his current engine temp. So he's actually managing that engine really, really well. Granted, he's in a position where he isn't in a draft and he's able to run that nicely. But, you know, Henderson behind him, dangerous. Like, where they're going to start running into problem. Following up by Clark and Corn, both pushing really hard, you know, on the back of each other, trying to catch that lead pack.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as you say, Sam's got the benefit of being in front there, clean air. Kevin Henderson will be the one to have a few problems there potentially as they come down into the turn 5 hairpin again. Henderson up the inside, Sam leaving him plenty of room, looking to then drop back in behind and perhaps grab the toe of Henderson there as he runs wide out of turn 6 in through turn 7 now. Lovely section of corners to get right, of course, but quite the technical section of the track as well. All coming now into the final series of corners. First gear round here. Kevin making a good run at that. Swings out wide again. First gear again as they head through turn 9 at Hobbs. On the run. Oh, someone off to the side there. Was that just someone pulling over and letting him pass, did you see?
Yeah, I did. I have Witten's out. So it was the other black Aussies, New Zealand Silverleaf car.
It wasn't Ian Bevan. I'm just checking. I know he's running the Silver Fern. Anyway, it was probably just a lap car. There's no one seemingly dropping through the field at the moment, but certainly good of a lap car to pull over, I would have thought.
Yeah, no, real well done. As we were going through that switch between Henderson and Sammy there, Corn and Clark swapped. And Corn is now pushing hard to try and get back up onto Sammy and Henderson. So this, you know, second, third, fourth, and then Alex John, who's actually pacing quite, you know, a fair way off the back of those guys. So the two teammates, Alex John and Clark, you know, they're sitting in relative 5th and 6th. So if they can turn this around, they can keep pushing. Maybe one of these lead cars drop another engine. You know, Team Milo have a high possibility of doing a really good finish in this top 5.
Yeah, absolutely, Des. These guys are running 5th and 6th now. By the way, it was Ashley Work, the other teammate of Luke Whitten, who pulled aside there. He's gone a lap down, but he did the right thing there, letting the leaders by. The Team Milo cars running 5th and 6th currently as we ride on board with Russell. They've, I tell you what, they're the team to beat in terms of the Teams Championship here. Those of you who aren't aware, we do run a Teams Championship separate to the individual drivers, where you find 2 guys paired up. Hence Team Milo, as you look at the startling livery there once again. These guys, again, they've been top 5 contenders both the rounds previously, and once again running 5th and 6th respectively now as we're on board with Russell, as we say. These guys are really on the money for the Teams Championship this season and will be really tough to beat, Des.
Yeah, no, just as you said that, we've got Clark dropping back into the... No, wrong one. We've got the Alex Johns dropped into the pit, sorry. He's ducking in early, which is going to leave, bring Hobbs and Fiddler on the back of that group. Now, Dennis and obviously Corner running as a teammate, so it's interesting. We've got seeing Dennis drop, gain another position, so he's up into 7th now. So, and he's really giving the heat to Hobbs. He's pushing hard on him, so it's going to... Yeah, it's a... You can't stick a pin in this field. There's no way of knowing at this point in time the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th are going to go, and there's nothing to say that Watson, without good engine management, without concentrating. But again, he's got a 6-second lead now, so he doesn't need to push the car. He can watch his engine. He can take his time. He's able to run this track nice and easily. Like, he can literally slow down 5 tenths and still be able to do it right.
Yeah, absolutely. Just saw Alex John come out of the pits. He did a reasonable stop there, only stopping for 8 seconds. So I might have overestimated those previously. I was expecting a little bit more than that. But 8 seconds was enough for Alex John, as we're on board with Mick Watson now. As you say, those pit stops will shake out the field a bit. But Mick Watson here, sitting with nearly a 6.5 second lead, is really just strolling away with this at the moment after the early on-track action sort of helped him. There was early battles, of course, and then the incidents that followed from there. So certainly Mick Watson's race to lose. Interesting to see how he goes with his pit stops. Alex J. John now back out on track in 12th position after his pit stop, an 8.8 second stop with a 29.3 second pit lane overall time. He'll be sort of striving to get back up, and hopefully that early pit stop will find him in some clean air, maybe kept his engine temperatures down a bit. He might have been a concern from that, or it might just be that he wanted to get clear of that battling pack because he felt he might be able to run better on his own, Des.
No, definitely. And as you've called out that with Watson being able to take out the lead, we've had another swap for 2nd and 3rd. Henderson and Sammy have swapped again. Yeah, touching back on the pit stops, pit stops are going to play a major role in this. As you can see that we've had the other Milo team drop in, Alex John. He's dropped in early. He's obviously a strategic point to it. He's been able to get out of the air, slow down a bit. It's all going to play out as the race goes on. Just a little bit of information from Mick Watson. He's averaging 43 ones, literally 43 neat ones. The closest to him is Kevin Henderson, and he's dropping 43 fours on average. So there you go. There's 3 tenths in it, but that's 3 tenths that it's up and down. So he is gaining a tenth every 2 or 3 laps. So he's doing quite well over the course of the race, mate. That'll add up, of course. We just saw Sam and Kevin swap places again at turn 5 at the hairpin there. So these guys are trying to, I guess, work together, I suppose. But you'd like to see that draft come into effect a bit earlier if you are going to make that work to your advantage in attempting to catch the leader. Although having said that, they're out now to 6.8 seconds as they come around to complete lap 14 now. So I suggest that these guys are just thinking now, how do I make the best of my own run? We're probably not going to catch the leader, so it's probably going to be these guys for the minor spots on the podium, I suggest, at this stage, Des. Yeah, no, definitely. This is an exciting race, watching Henderson and Sammy swap back to back. This is the 3rd lap consecutively that they've swapped. second and third, and it's a really intense. They're
Yeah.
doing a great job.
Yeah, absolutely, and hot on their tail, Michael Corn and Russell Clark, of course, just waiting to pounce at any opportunity. Russell's very patient. I know firsthand from last week. He and the other Milo car, Alex John, just sat on my tail. Sorry, last round I should say, just sat on my tail for pretty much the whole race, waiting for me to make a mistake, which I inevitably did with a bodged pit stop. But he's just sitting here tactically, conserving himself, probably quite relaxed with his position, not worrying about the battling. Oh, big contact there, as we see, between Sam Katakazinos and Kevin Henderson there. Might just jump back and grab a replay on that.
That was a nice, wasn't what you class it as a nice, but yeah, it was definitely a well put together touch there that basically pushed him wide. The exciting part about Ian Bevan, he's dropped right back down. I'll tell you what, he is pulling his finger out with a 42.9. I think that is almost the fastest lap of the race. 42.92, so he's matched Watson. So it's a shame that he wasn't able to keep up with Mick Watson. It could have turned out to be quite a close 1-2 finish if that had been the case. Alex?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, that incident between Sam and Kevin, I just took a quick look at it again. Hard to say without sort of analysing it in great detail, but certainly it looked like either Sam missed his braking marker or because he came up very quickly on the inside of Kevin there, Kevin moving across to cover the line, and just an unfortunate incident. And as Kevin's fond of saying, tonight he seems to be having more hits than Elvis, mate. It's certainly action-packed.
No, it's definitely action-packed, and it's never a dull moment in the old super skip. So it's Dennis is doing really well. Move up into fifth now. He's managed to jump Hobbs about 2 laps ago, and he's trailing back on the that lead. Oh, there goes an engine. That's his teammate. Corn has dropped an engine. It's gone.
Oh, that's tragic.
What a shame.
Just watching it now as he came in to turn 4 at the bottom of the circuit, coming out of it's let go, and that's one of the key locations where it will let go. You're pushing the engine to its max, and if you don't grab 5th on the entrance on the way down, I should say, into turn 4 there, as the race progresses, you are a great chance of blowing an engine. Real unfortunate way for Michael there. He looks to be sitting there quite a while before he exits out into the pits.
Yeah, heartbroken. I don't know what the standing is on the repair on that, whether or not he can get a quick repair on that engine and get back out. But it's heartbreaking, especially when the engine lets go, and it's all about the management. Like we said that at the start of the race, we've got to watch what happens to these cars.
Yeah, absolutely, you're right there, mate. He will be able to get back to the pits and grab a fast repair. As we see now, Russell Clark trying to grab a bit of a tow there from a lap car to try and get back on the back of Kevin Henderson. Now Russell now promoted up to third position prior to pit stops, of course, where we'll see the order shake up again. Russell, unfortunately there, because of that blown engine, and he was sitting back comfortably at the rear of that pack, has every chance of losing that tow. And if he's not as quick as Kevin, and Kevin, I have to admit, probably has the edge on Russell most weeks in terms of pace, not by much, but enough to skip away as he's sitting just really on the end of that rubber band of the tow there at 1.03 seconds behind. He might just be able to grab a bit of tow up this long straight, Des.
No, definitely. But it's just outside, like you said, you got that 1.2 second gap to be able to catch that tow. But I tell you what, Russell's times compared to Henderson's times, they are more consistent. They're not fluctuating as badly as what Henderson's are. So it will be interesting to see whether or not he can pull it together, shape up his times and bring him back in, and he might be able to gain tenths a lap. Engine management, again, can't stress that enough. Like it's coming up on this particular track, and especially in this particular cast.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right, mate. I've seen a few go already. Russell now just within that magic 1 second mark, sitting around 8 or 9 tenths at present. Yeah, I mean, of course, he would have been having the consistency, as we see Kevin pull into the pits now for his scheduled stop. Russell would have been having more consistent because we saw Sam and Kevin and others generally just having battles all throughout. So that would have allowed Russell, as I said, to be quite relaxed on the back of the pack there and enjoy pretty much of a cruisy ride, so to speak, as Kevin pulls up in the pits now, Des.
Yeah, no, definitely. And Ian Bevan, another big mover. He's pushed himself up into 6 with those few cars dropping out under repairs. So he's managed to relinquish he's managed to claw his way back up this track as he's chasing on the back end of car in front of him as a few more cars just pulled into the pits. Yes, yeah. Dennis Fiddler.
Yeah, well, that's right. The advantage that Ian's got, of course, is he's actually sitting in 3rd position, if you can believe it. The advantage that Ian's got is that he's already taken his pit stop. So assuming that the fuel tanks, which are limited here as he runs wide out of turn 2 there now, the fuel tanks are limited in this car. However, if he, even taking that early pit stop, was able to get enough fuel into the car, he's fueled to the end of the race. He is the leading driver who has pitted. He did an 8.1 second pit stop, which is right up there with about the average for the field. There's some better, some worse, but he's right in the mix there. If he's able to make this work from here and not run out of fuel, he is fair dinkum on for at least a podium position, which he's in now, if not for the win, mate.
Definitely. It's all shaping up. It's starting to shape up to be the race that we all thought it would be. You know, the top runners have had a few accidents and stuff like that. Ian's one of them, basically. It's going to drag out, and it'll be interesting to see the run out at the end. I want to see, how these guys play their game out. But I tell you what, down the bottom, like as we go back down, he's a slow pace. He's getting through it all. He's not the fastest out there in his Vegemite car, but there's a grin on his face, and he's obviously here to race. So, and you've got to take your hat off to these sorts of guys that turn up to these events. They're not the fastest out there, but these guys that make up the field, take your hat off to them as Mike Turner comes up behind him. Yeah,
absolutely. I've just seen Russell Clark coming out of the pits now. Ian Bevan has passed him. There you go. That's talking to the quality and the speed and pace of Ian Bevan there. Oh, as he runs wide through turn 1, I give the guy a rap. And after all that, he runs wide as he goes around the lapped Ashley Work there. Russell Clark, who did a much better pit stop, it has to be said. He was 1.3 seconds shorter on his stop and 2 seconds overall shorter in the pit lane, has been jumped by Ian Bevan. What a drive from Ian. Again, we didn't catch the incident between he and Luke earlier on in the race, but he certainly made a great recovery drive, just showing the pace that he's got, doing a 42.9 best lap, and looks to be running fairly consistently in the 42s highs there on his own, and working his way through the field even still up into 2nd place. That's a fantastic drive, Des.
No, definitely. He's pulled out all stops. He's going. He wants this. Now, he's cutting through the field like it wouldn't believe, but like you said, it all comes down to that quality, the pit stop. He's able to, it wasn't the greatest pit stop, probably not one of the quick ones, but he's making up for it with those 42s. He's clearing 5/10 a lap, over the course of this remainder of the race. So obviously, he probably won't catch Mick unless he gets a major drama, and he's got to stop running off those tracks. But see whether it comes out.
Yeah, absolutely. He's doing really well at the moment. It's interesting you say that. I reckon he's a good chance of catching Mick here. So he's currently 29 seconds behind. And looking down the field now, the length of time people spend in pit lane, you know what? The shortest one is a 27, right? Then they're all sort of hovering around the 29s, 30s, well up to those who got stuck in the pits for repairs and what have you, or toes back. But I reckon with a 29-second gap, depending on how Mick Watson pits, he'll be right under threat from me in here, and that'd certainly go down as one of the drives of the night, Des.
No, definitely. For what he's done to come back through the field, and if it is, he does get that 29 pit stop, it's going to pull this race back into a really interesting end to this round 3. It'll be really fun to watch. The way this is unfolding, as I'm on board with Matthew Hobbs as he's chasing down Alex John now, who's managed to push himself back up as he comes in through that run onto the back straight. It's going to be, they're starting to space out a lot too now. Yeah.
Yeah, there are. There's not too many battle packs running around at the moment. Certainly the field is spread out, as you say. Still waiting for Mick Watson out in front. He's just pulling into the pits now. This will be what we need to watch here. So we're talking a 28, 29 second gap. 29 seconds on pit road is a great effort. So that's not taking into account the slow run in as well. So it's actually once you cross the line, 29 seconds. So I reckon there's every chance now that Ian Bevan, who's now coming around the second to last corner now, Michael Knight now, coming into the last corner. Yeah, we got 25 seconds on pit road, 26 now for Mick. Mick Watson's pulling out. Ian Bevan coming down. It's going to be very close. It's very close racing here. Mick Watson's got out. He's 5.5 seconds. Now the question is, has Ian Bevan, who we can see just in the background now, I'll hop on board with Ian now as he comes through turn 2, has he got the pace to bridge that gap? Actually, I've mistimed that. Shouldn't say I mistimed, but I called it early. Mick Watson was still getting up to speed. Ian Bevan now, less than 2.5 seconds. He's been lapping super fast. He's been carving his way through the field. Perhaps a little steam coming out of the ears after that earlier incident that we missed. But he's on now. I can see the smiling face of Mick Watson ahead of him. Fantastic way with the balance of 4 laps remaining now as they head up the back straight, Des.
It's going to unfold. This is it. This is the pay. These are the sort of the events that you want to watch. These are what make this so exciting.
Yeah, that's right. They may not be side by side, but the tension's building as Ian now sitting about 2.5 seconds behind us.
No, he's pulled out all the stops. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold him off. Mick, he's got speed, yes, but I tell you what, firing Ian's belly, and he wants that win, and he's pushing hard. There's a 5-10 split on average between the lap times between the two of them. I've been looking over them, and yeah, the 42.9 we've got as an equivalent for the last lap from Watson. Did that was his pit, but it was a 43.5. So that's the equivalent lap times that you're looking at between these two guys. Oh no, I thought I seen a blown engine then from Bevan, but it's not. It's just a dirt.
Now, would you be surprised if I told you that nose to tail once again for 4th and 5th position, Sam Katagazinos and Kevin Henderson. Sam pulling out the inside now on the run down the front straight into turn 1. These two separated at birth apparently, trying to get back together again on the track. I can't believe what Sam must have done to get back after that earlier incident is astounding. I mean, both of them spent similar times on pit lane, so not sure what held Kevin up, because he certainly got away from that incident a lot better than Sam, but these two, I tell you can't separate them for the life of them.
No, they were separated like 3 or 4 cars, and then all of a sudden here they are, managed to find each other again and go, right, let's keep going.
Yeah, battle resumed as they head up the main straight for the lap 22, balance of 3 laps remaining. These two, I don't know, do they go out for dinner and a movie afterwards? They're just inseparable all night, Des.
No, it's definitely dinner and a movie. So it's shaping up at the front again. Like they got, I think it's lap traffic. Oh, no, there he's out his road. So Ian's, on the back end of that car, that 105 car, is really bringing the heat. And I think Watson knows it. He knows that he's in trouble. He knows he's got to keep pushing this car out. We've got a 43 last lap for Bevan. So he has dropped off the pace by, Beesdick, so to call it. But it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Well, yeah, look, he's caught up over half a second in that last lap. He's now only 1.8 seconds behind. Across the line now to finish lap 22. Mick's still got a smile on his face, but he'd be looking nervously in his mirrors at this stage. They got two laps remaining as they head through turn 1 now, down to 1.8 seconds. Bit of lap traffic to deal with. Track looks pretty clear. I'll tell you what, it's going to come down to the wire, Des.
As I look back further down the field, we've got Dennis back in that solid 8th. He's managed to improve that one spot, but he's got taken over by Hobbs again, so you can't seem to close the gap on him. 6th, we've got John, and then Sammy coming in 5th. We've got 4th, Henderson, Clark, Bevan, and Watson leading out the final 3. It's going to be a wire run to the the end here. It's going to be, I know you all paid for the full seat, but I'll tell you what, people are going to need the edge of it.
Absolutely. Ian Bevan now closing into 1.3 seconds. He's almost, folks, he's almost got that toe as they come down the back straight for lap 23 now. The penultimate lap, he comes through. Nice tight line there, Kevin. Good drive out using all the extent of the track. Comes through turn 6 now through Revolver down into Piper now, turn 7. Oh, look at him. He's using every single inch and more of this track. He's closed to within 1.2. If he gets a good run now through Hobbs, he'll be looking to really pull up the back here of Mick Watson now. Back through turn 9 now. As they head along now, he's down still at 1.2. Coming through Michael Knight now, turn 10. Really looking to get within that toe now, still at 1.2 seconds, looking to get maximum drive here, third gear, run it really wide there. Look, he kicked up a bit of dust, may picked up an incident point there, but you know what, at this point, you want to throw everything on the line. He's now, he's snuck back out again. He's down to, 1.1, just a gap in the timing there, folks. Riding on board now. I might hop on the gyro if I can find it. Ian Bevan, best lap time today, 1:42.8. Best lap time in the field, folks. Des, how do you call it? This last final lap, who do we see take it out?
Honestly, at this point of this final lap, I've got my money on Watson. There's too many difficult corners. There's two options that'll come out of this, basically. The pair of these guys will take each other out because Ian wants that win. And then you've got Clark will take in first place, Henderson, and then Sammy. Or he's happy with the second position, happy with what he's done, plays it out, stays in second, and lets Watson win. So that's my call. It'll be a Watson, Ian, Russell, Henderson, and a Sammy for the top 5.
Yeah, well, Sam's dropped back now. He's 1.5 seconds behind Henderson there, so he's probably out of contention there. We saw Ian Bevan get a poor run out of turn 4. He's run wide here again through turn 6 into turn 7 now, although look at that, he's got a sniff. I reckon Mick's low on fuel. I reckon he's done fuel. He's gone up the inside. Mick Watson now.
He's done it.
Oh, the side-by-side action. Around the outside. Oh, he's still smiling. Oh, Mick Watson. He's out of gas. Ian Bevan. What an incredible race. Ian Bevan comes around the final corner now on the final lap. How about that as the checkered flag comes out? Poor old Mick Watson. What's he doing? He's spluttering. Where's Russell Clark?
Oh, is he going to get it? Is he going to take him?
Russell Clark.
Has he got it? Can he get him on the line? No, he's kept it.
I'll tell you what.
So close.
Sam Catacasinos coming home in 5th, just behind his nemesis, Kevin Henderson. Alex J. John now coming up onto the front straight to snaffle a nice 6th position. Once again, Team Milo, 3rd and 6th, showing they are the force to beat. Matthew Hobbs in 7th. Dennis Feither in crossing the line now in 8th position. Great result for Dennis, up 2 spots in a tough field. Ken Himes, outstanding result for young Ken Himes. Look at him letting the car go a bit loose across the line. Top 10 finish for Ken, great finish. Just behind him, his partner in crime. Not certainly teammates, but they love racing together, Mark and Ken, both with top 10 finishes. What an outstanding race there, Des.
That was awesome race. That's all I can say. That was a shame. Watson had to draw it down to the line with his fuel. Like, he came in that lap early, he'd probably been able to take a touch more. Again, fuel strategy. It's the pit stop strategy. It was the engine management. It all played out, and it cost Watson that beautiful lead that he had. But I'll tell you what, hats off to Bevan for that run, being able to getting that unlucky start. And then bringing it home, and like you said, quickest lap of the race. Did that 44, was it 42?
42.8, mate. It was an outstanding run. If I had the capability of not breaking the broadcast too dramatically, I'd go back and find that incident. But I was just hopping board briefly with Simon Chambers, my partner in crime. He's my fellow top split team partner for this season. He's had a great result down in 13th, grabbing us some points tonight. Although I should say, our sub-driver, Kevin Henderson, although he's not in the livery tonight, he's in that spectacular Indigenous design. He's our sub-driver while I'm up here in the booth. So just quickly, folks, I think everyone may well have finished their run. So what I might do is just grab the final results here for you tonight. Ian Bevan with a spectacular drive, come from behind as it were. Surprisingly he spent less time in the pits than Mick, but Mick didn't take enough fuel. Quite amazing. Mick Watson in second place, finishing 6.7 seconds, an unlikely 6.7 seconds behind Ian in second place. Russell Clark, fantastic podium finish for the Team Milo driver. Kevin Henderson, quite an eventful fourth ahead of Sam Katakizinas, an equally eventful race, you'd have to say. Alex John, the second of the Team Milo drivers, in sixth. Matthew Hobbs in seventh. Dennis Fiedler, the first of the New Holland Racing team drivers, in eighth position. Ken Himes and Mark Jeffrey rounding out your top 10 with great finishing performance for those two. Next, in 11th, we had Ryan Terry, new to the series. Nick Reed, consistent and great driver, a great guy to race with, in 12th. Simon Chambers, series organiser, top split TV team driver, finishing 13th and well inside the points. Callum Dwyer in 14th. Nathan Kong, again, another new driver to the series, in 15th. Darren Lassou becoming somewhat of a regular in 16th. Michael Korn, the second of the New Holland team races, I should say, if I can get my tongue to work, in 17th. Timo Weimer, his second round, I think, for the season, doing well, bringing it home in 18th position, and if I just check, he's up 4 spots off the grid. Well done, Tim. Aaron Drury in 19th position, Mark Turner in 20th. Just rounding out the closing stages of the field, you've got Anthony Moore in 21st. Les Peck, great to see him out on track again. He's a great guy and a great participant in the series, in 22nd. Ashley Work getting lapped. Luke Witten's teammate, the pair of them finishing 23rd and 24th respectively. There's you and me, mate, bringing out the back of the field, not getting on track, and Scott Maher down there in 27th. Again, not taking the grid. So, what did you make of that, mate? That was quite eventful from what I saw. What about you?
A surprise. Like I knew the attrition rate with these cars on this track. I knew that the engines blow. Didn't expect to see Witten take out what happened to him, or him to pull out the way he did with, after not taking repairs. The example of that is, look what happened to Ian. Don't give up. This is what the story that can come out of this, like with what Ian's basically done, is it, he was, I think, what did he go back to, nearly 18th, was it? And he's managed to pull it back.
Yeah, absolutely. It was quite a special effort, wasn't it? I mean, we didn't actually catch the incident, as we say, but I'm just seeing if I can go back and find it at some point. No, I can't work the magic with this system, folks. We're just going to have to stick with what we got for now. But, look, spectacular effort from Ian. We know he's got the driving skill and the talent to bring it out. So hats off to Ian. Well done, son. I noticed that Simon Chambers, the series organiser, is down below us in the green room. I'm going to bring him up. I tried to talk to him before the race, but he was otherwise occupied, I think, so hopefully he'll be ready to have a chat. I'll just bring him up, Des. Simon Chambers, welcome to the Top Split TV broadcast booth tonight, mate. You were representing us out there on track tonight. How did you find it? No, he's not there. Oh,
I'm here.
Oh, you are there. You had us on mute, did you, mate? How did you find the racing out on track tonight?
Lots of fun. Just hold on a sec. Just sorry, had to get rid of the sim.
No, you're right, mate. It certainly looked like there was a fair bit going on out there tonight. Yourself bringing it home in 13th, up 8 positions from your starting spot on the grid. You must be happy with that.
Yeah, worked my way up the field. Had a couple of good battles with Callum Dwyer and Nick Reed. Sandwich in between them for most of the race. Lots of fun, lots of changing positions and sliding around the track. Very clean. Nobody hit anybody, which is great.
Yeah, mate, those are two guys that you're happy to do that sort of side-by-side racing with. I know Nick is a fantastic guy to race with, very clean and respectful. Callum Dwyer, similarly. I have to say, if you're on pace with Nick, you're doing very well, mate, so you must be pretty satisfied with your pace overall then.
Yeah, I hadn't driven for a few weeks at all, and hopped in the seat at the last minute. And I was just trying a few things differently, and got pretty good pace. I started off a bit slow, but then was getting consistent 144s. Don't think I almost slipped into the 143s, but couldn't quite get there.
Yeah, you were just a whisker off there at a 144 dead, mate. So yeah, given your time away from the track, pretty happy to see you up there in the top 15, snaffling us some well-earned points. Although our sub-driver Kevin Henderson, who had quite an eventful race, it has to be said, managed to get us a top 5. So still points on offer for us tonight. Now we're in round 3, of course, for season 2, the Australasian Superskips. You're the organiser and runner of this series. Some good improvements on this season, of course, with RRtv coming on for certain rounds, selected rounds of the series, and us trying to cobble something together in between so that the viewers at home will have something to look at. Philippe Lebert, of course, bringing on a fantastic addition to the series with the Australasian Superskips League website. You must be happy with how things are going.
Oh yeah, and I think some of the guys are happy with it too. Ken Hyams made a comment. He's happy that we're moving forward. We're getting broadcasting. We've got an incident review system, and the guys are having fun. Pretty good turnout.
Quick question there, Simon. The incident review system, like, it'll play quite heavily on this track tonight. So obviously you're going to be going back through and having a look at some of those incidents that were caused with Witten, Ian, other contacts and stuff like that. How would you process these? Are they going to be in-house, or are they? How would they get processed, basically?
Yeah, it's a member steward system. So any we select stewards based on independence. The last race we actually pre-selected stewards. I don't think that worked very well, so this time we're going to select independent stewards, and basically it's a minimum of 3 reviews. And I heard some chatter, so there's definitely a few there, but basically it's a pretty good system. It gives you a bit of leeway. And averages it out, so it's moving forward from where we were last season when we were having to sort of get together as a trio and review them sort of ad hoc.
Yeah, no, it makes it really difficult, especially when the decision gets passed down and someone doesn't like it. Back to the main race. I was going to ask you the question: engine management for you. How did it go? Were you able to keep the engine managed well? It didn't manage to get it up too high. You didn't have to duck out, get to go up at air, because you were tucked in with those guys quite heavily. So how did you manage that? And I was tucked in behind. I was just trying to keep up with them. I was revving high in the last corner. I think that's actually the name of the corner, last corner.
It is.
And I was nervous every time we went through there. We did have one guy blow his engine through there. I can't remember who it was. I was just trying to have a look, but I think it was Aaron Drury.
Yeah, mate, a couple of them went. So you weren't on your own with worrying about that. But listen, for those who are interested in joining us here at the Australasian Superskips, mate, can you give us an idea of how to get involved?
Yeah, there's still plenty of room. So basically, if you go to leagues and you look for our league name, Australasian Superskips, there's a button over the right that says join, and the admins, which I'm one and you're one, Alex, will get we'll get a notification, and we'll review your application and let you in if we think that firstly you'd be able to qualify for the minimum requirements for the race, and also secondly that we think you've got enough skippy experience. Plenty of room. The track could have taken 60 cars. We've got 27. We've got over 100 members, but we can have more.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And for those that are interested in checking out the current standings in the league, head over to the following website, as.league.irlleagues.com. I'll put a full link in the description of the video on YouTube when we put it up, though. So Once again, Simon, congratulations on your result, scoring us some good points towards your own tilt at the championship, but towards our top split team tilt at the teams championship. But also congratulations and thank you for your fine work in pulling this all together, mate.
Yeah, no worries. Been absent for a few weeks, but back on deck. And thank you very much for putting together a broadcast for us tonight.
Well, you may not thank me after you see it, mate, but we'll see how we go.
It was exciting.
well,
just to recap on what Ian Bell, where he came from, 20th position he came from after that spin.
Ian Bevan? So, yeah, no, he's done really well. So thanks again, Simon, mate. I'll see you off and I might catch you after.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Well, there you go, Des. That's Simon, the organiser of the series. I think he's doing a spectacular job myself. I mean, the on-track action here that we saw tonight was fantastic. By and large, with a field this size, you tend to see a bit here and there in terms of guys coming to grief. Not as much as you've seen in the official races, certainly. And from my own experience, the on-track action is fast, clean, and certainly enjoyable.
There's a lot of respect on the track, and you can see that with a lot of the actions that the guys are doing. It's inevitable. It's racing. There are going to be accidents. But this was an exciting, clean race, to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Well, before we drag things on too long, we might call it there, folks. Once again, this has been Top Split TV, stepping into the big shoes of RRtv with Bernie Weemers unable to join us again tonight. So on behalf of Desmond Harbinger and myself, Alex McKellar, we thank you for watching.